Hello and welcome to a quick look at SimAirport. So I downloaded this game yesterday. It's in the sale on Steam for a ridiculous price, and I thought, well, I've watched this being played by a few of the YouTubers that I follow, and it looked really interesting, and I thought, well, for that price I'm just going to download it, have a go, see how I get on. And ended up playing it for a couple of hours, and I thought rather than actually recording a complete playthrough initially, I'd just upload this one and give you just a peek at what I worked on yesterday. So I chose a very large map, as you can see, and I have actually expanded the land by purchasing some extra land parcels. I think it was at the side and the top. And I'll just show you very quickly around the airport that I've built so far. It's quite an addictive game, I have to say. Let's speed things up a little bit, get the first of the flight in. So this is the drop-off area, and I found that this system works quite well. You can actually get vehicles pull in here and they don't stop along this area and cause a traffic jam. And then we've got the pickups as well down here. Here are the passengers, and now it gets noisy. So we've got the entrance to the airport, we've got plenty of flight information and a little bit of decor, and we've got our ticket desks. Now I'm managing with this huge airport with only 3 ticketing desks. I'll explain why in a second. As you can see, I've been letting the game run a little bit. I've got over $2 million. And we've been doing okay. We've had a few hiccups along the way. The reason I've been managing only with a few desks is when you take a look at the new baggage handling area of the game. This wasn't here until the last update, which was, I think, only a couple of days ago. These baggage hubs, there's a standard hub, a large hub, and then a specialty hub. Oh my god, they were so confusing to set up. When you pick one of these things, you've got all these arrows, but the way they work, I'll pick the large. Say I needed some more ticketing desks in this location along this wall. Each ticketing desk needs to go into one of the baggage hub entry points, and the basic theme is blue goes to blue, pink to pink, which seems straightforward enough until you get to the point of needing, well actually that's a little bit odd, isn't it? Did I pick that one? Yeah, that one I think is the one I picked. So blue to blue, pink to pink, but it gets a little bit odd when you get to the point of needing to link them together. Now what I had to do in the end was download a guide from the SimAirport Steam group. The developers did a few photographs, screenshots if you like, of working systems. And if I place this here, obviously it's saying I can't place one right now, but for example, if that was available for me to place, ignore the fact that it's not doing that at the moment, I would have to link across the bottom the 2 pink arrows to get those 2 to work as a sort of super hub, and then I'd have to link my extra gates in to the blue arrows at the bottom, and then you would only have 1 pink output for the conveyor belt. So it is really confusing, and it took me a while to get that working. So yeah, it was quite interesting, but yeah, you link them basically together. You have 1 output, and then you link all the ticketing desks into the available blue slots down here. And then you've got your baggage depot, which is where all the bags come in, and then you have your outflow down to the conveyor belt, which also needs another hub in between to sort the bags again in order to get them to work for baggage claim. So it's tricky. I don't know how they could improve it to make it more counterintuitive, but more intuitive, because at the moment it really is a little bit odd. Okay, so we've got ticketing kiosks along this wall, and they get really busy, as you can tell. It's only 7:05. The schedule that we've got, I don't have an awful lot of flights either, but I've got 4 gates, 3 large gates and 1 extra large. I need to schedule some more flights. I obviously have some spare capacity in that schedule, but money hasn't been an issue, so I've kind of left it as it was. And in order to really get this airport to grow, I need to sort out more baggage depots and more hubs, and to be honest, by the time I'd finished playing for a couple of hours I was sort of done, so you can imagine I got an awful lot done yesterday in a couple of hours. So very enjoyable game actually, and as I say, quite addictive. But I think once I'm happier with these baggage depots, I'll be able to set up the ticket desks better and make a bigger ticketing area. But you know, this has worked. I've seen a lot of people adding lots and lots and lots of desks. With the old baggaging system that was easy, but with this new one I think not so much, because you've got all that underground planning to do as well. We've got a huge security area, basically huge ID check stands, bag scanners, and then the metal detectors as well. And these are the gates. Oh, that should have departed. Oh no, that's ready to depart in 24 minutes. We've got 107 of 108 boarded. Don't know where the missing passenger is, but that should go in about a couple of seconds time. There we are. So 1 passenger missed their flight, and that's one of the large gates, so they only need the medium runway, and off they go. We've got a large runway which is really expensive to build. Objects, structures, 42,500 to build that extra large gate, and the smaller ones are 28. So it does take a while to get these things in place, and you need to upgrade the lighting, and then you need to have runway ILS and the instrument landing system, I think that is, and some other sort of, I can't remember what that thing's called. Upgrade runway PAPI. We've got the ATC air traffic control tower there. We've got a huge hangar with 5 baggage slots, but that was a bit of an afterthought. What I did initially, I started with 1 gate, 1 small hangar, 1 baggage depot, the smallest hub I could get away with, and 1 baggage carousel, as I said, and that seemed to work out okay. I'm not getting any delays, and we're getting most of the planes departing at the time they should, or even earlier in a lot of cases. So, and there's the little baggage car. Unloading the baggage, and then he'll come back in a second unloading the new baggage. It's pretty good. I love the little people, and you can follow them around. So this is the main terminal area. We've got the gate agent desks, and you assign a gate agent to a queue and a gate. So we've got 2 queues for 2 desks, and 2 desks seems to be okay really. You can see on this gate we've got this flight ready to depart, ready to board in a few minutes, and we've already got passengers in line, and they should start boarding now. Yeah, it works really well, and it's really entertaining. It's quite incredible the amount of people you can actually get milling about in the game. They do get a bit stuck, I've noticed. You need to leave a good 2 clear spaces around everywhere. And we've got them all boarded. Yeah, they're all boarded, and that's going to leave early, so that was good. You need to leave a good 2 clear spaces. I had the queue going to here, to the end of this wall, and they were getting jammed. They all used to just mill around in this area here. In a big, there's a big log jam. So as soon as I cleared 2 clear spaces at the end of the queue, that seemed to cure that problem. And the same with these kiosks. I've got a small bar, and I had stools, chairs, and the passengers would come and pull up a chair and sit at the bar, which was great. I think that's the way it's supposed to be used. But you would get about 10 people stuck in that area because they couldn't actually path around the chairs very easily. So I've taken away all the chairs for now. I think that probably needs some work by the developers. We've got a small health food kiosk, and we have another bar there. We've got plenty of restrooms, and they do get busy and dirty, as you can see. We've got a dessert kiosk, we've got a small snack kiosk, a coffee kiosk, and I think we've got another coffee kiosk on this side, yeah. As I say, lots of restrooms, plenty of seating. Any more than this and they were getting jammed. You really do need 2 clear spaces between anything that you place. That's my tip if you're going to try out this game. It's well worth it, and I think it's really going to have a lot of improvements. Reading through the forum on Steam, there definitely seems to be a lot in the pipeline. So these 3 gates are basically the same. We've got the gate, the queue, desk, space for food, toilets, and a hangar. So I've copied that for those 3 gates, but then I needed the larger runway, so I invested. Now I'd started making a decent amount of cash. I invested in the extra large gate. And because I couldn't really copy this setup, because this gate is just so much bigger, I ended up putting it on the end here. And this was a sort of an afterthought, this area. I needed more gates, 2. Just didn't cut it with the number of passengers we were getting in this area. If I can bring up today's flight for that extra large gate, there are 300 max passengers for that flight, 360 for the earlier one, and the morning flight 525. So you can see it's a massive jump from the few hundred that you get on the other gates. But we'll just watch this one for a second. You'll see this flight is en route. It's scheduled to arrive at 8:15. We're already getting passengers making their way into the seating area. Again, 2 spaces all the way around, otherwise you get people jammed. You can see here that, they just seem to sort of mill about in these areas. But I found this orientation works quite nicely. We've got plenty of pathways through. They do get a little bit jammed here and there, but this works quite nicely. Plenty of bins, garbage bins, plenty of decor if you can fit it in. And another thing that they absolutely love, these passengers, is an ATM. My God, I only had about 2 or 3 ATMs originally, and the queues were horrendous. And they were like this sort of a queue. They're just a mass of people in this area, and it actually blocks the gate. So yeah, that's a little tip. Add plenty of ATMs in. Okay, so we have a Boeing 787. It's scheduled to depart at 10:45. We've got 251 people standing in line. All of these people deplaning. The beauty about this system, this layout, is I've left myself a good exit corridor. But you can see this flight isn't particularly large, but you can see how the queues build up. And all of these people soon will be making their way over. Right, so we've got boarding starting. And look at all these people. Why do they leave it till the last second? Now the queues are building up again. And it's funny how they just pick one or two gates agent desks. But I find it absolutely fascinating game, and I think the graphics are so cute. But there we are, waiting on baggage loading. Now this is one thing I've got to sort out. But we've still got 40 minutes till it departs, so, you know, I'm managing okay with what I have, considering I have, well, a very basic baggage system. So we'll see him go off on the taxiway, and he's going to use the large runway, and off he goes. Have a safe flight. Yeah, so as I say, this massive gate, it's worked out quite nicely, to be honest. I might put another gate in this area here if I'm going to expand this again, and have this sort of mirrored that side. So we'll have the gate entrance here, and then, you know, this sort of big terminal and and this sort of a space on that side. But leaving this lovely clear corridor, I had originally decor, I had plants and bins and flight information displays and that sort of thing all the way along this corridor, but it was just jamming people up. So yeah, just again, try and leave two clear spaces, and you shouldn't run into those problems. There's all sorts of reports to show you which is a secure area, which is insecure. Environmental heat map, flight information, plants, decor, that sort of thing. I've got a lovely fountain there. I've tried to keep a lot of decor spread throughout the terminal. Can't really fit them in the restrooms. In the end I actually went for bins and flight info displays, because we were getting a lot of passengers milling around in there. So info heat map, so yep, the only real place I don't have a lot of flight info is probably in this area, and I could always expand this a little bit wider and put some flight info boards down here, but I'm going to wait and see what I do with another gate there, and security. But to be honest, they're in there for such a short amount of time, they're not going to stay in security. There's no seating, so I'm gambling that they're not going to need too much info there. And then we've got security, all the sectors, we've got security, just a sort of a general terminal, restrooms, and what you have to do is actually use these zones to define all the different areas, so drop-offs, and there's minimum sizes for each of these areas. So we've got drop-offs, pickups, security, ticketing, restrooms, baggage claim. So pretty straightforward. What else do we have? Transit capacity. Estimated transit capacity and demand. Okay, so we're doing okay for that. Profit and loss. Well, money isn't an issue at all. And then you've got daily cash flow. I think that was when I put the new gate in. Oh, as you can see, we're on day 55. It goes really quick. Well, you can see, I mean, we're already into a couple of days since we started. So, baggage claim. Now, the idea here is if I'm going to put another gate in, I'm going to have to rework these underground conveyors. I'm going to need more of these baggage hubs. I'm going to need a bigger ticketing area. I'm going to need more baggage depots, because what's happening, I've found, is the little hangars with the baggage car. Initially these are quite expensive to buy, but once you've got this sort of money, they're not really an issue. So I don't mind having a small hangar and a car in each one, and having multiple of them. But that was the idea with this large hangar. Get 5 or 6, you know, however many gates I've got. Get a baggage car for each, and have them all operating out of one area. But this is the thing that I need to, you know, I need to probably remove these hangars and put these baggage depots in next to each gate. And what will happen then is the baggage cars will come out of the large hangars, well, I'm hoping anyway. They'll drive to the depot, pick up the luggage. Well, they'll go to the plane, deplane the luggage, take it to the depot, and then collect the luggage and load it onto the plane, and then go back to the hangar. So having it over there shouldn't be an issue. These are nice and close, so it doesn't take long, but they still all have to drive down to this one depot or depot down here. So I think the next thing is get rid of these, put a depot in next to each gate, and then this transferring of bags should be a lot faster. That's my thinking anyway. But as you can see, I'm going to have to dismantle a ton of conveyors and put in more hubs and link them together, and you know, it's going to be a lot of work. Baggage claim, look at the little bags coming off. What's there? Oh, there's somebody hiding under the baggage claim. We've got food vending, as I say, we've got a fountain, we've got an ATM, you can have drinks machines. I've got food vending there again, drinks machines. There's all sorts of objects you can purchase. There's cafe stuff, there's cash registers for the cafe. You can have a kitchen. You can actually build a little cafe with a kitchen, pizza oven and a prep cart and a refrigerator. I haven't got into any of that yet, and that's probably something I'd like to try. You've got all different types of seating. And comfort benches, flight info, bathroom stuff, all that seating. Operations, you can have body scanners. They are quite slow, body scanners. I don't know what difference that would make to the satisfaction of the airline. Yeah, I think that probably would have an effect on the level of airline interest in your airport. So that's something I'm going to have to do at one point. Ticketing kiosks, ticketing desks and so forth. These are the hangars. Light rail service to your airport. Right, I probably need to get that place. Shall we put that in? Let's put it right in the middle. Because I think that's going to really... Now, which way round does that look like that's going to go? That should really make a difference to the... Yeah, that should really make a difference to the capacity. I'm wondering if the passengers can transfer across. We should have our little workers coming in here soon. Do they need to build that? Oh no, look, they're crossing over and they're catching the train. That's so cool. Oh my god, this game is so cute. I didn't even notice that there before. I've only just seen that. That should make a huge difference now to the volume of passengers travelling to and fro. Maybe decrease some of these bus pickups as well. Ah, that's so cute. Okay, and then we've got all sorts of decor. I've started to put a few plants and trees and bushes around. As I say, I've got one of the fountains in there. It's a shame it doesn't animate. We've got my favourite plant is plant 3, just my kind of style. But we do need to do some work on the rest of the area. So that's building. So you've got all these different types of floors. You can pick carpet, stone, wood. We can put sidewalks in and roads. Roads are really expensive, but once you've got to this kind of level, this is fairly cheap to do. Tools. What have we got here? Oh yeah, you need to sort of build a foundation out and then clear the walls. So you're left with just these exterior walls, but everywhere needs a foundation. Otherwise, you can't place floors or objects on it. And fences, you need to make sure that the airport is secure, so you have to surround the area with fences. And then you have to hire staff. When I initially did this, I had the CEO and COO in this kind of area here. So I rejigged this to make these bathrooms and move the offices over by ticketing. You can hire food workers, janitors. I've got 10 janitors, 26 security staff, 13 gate agents and ticketing staff, and only 4 workmen, and that's been working quite nicely actually. That hasn't been an issue at all. So I think I've covered everything. And then you have these planning colours that you can place down to kind of, you know, plan out your area beforehand, although I found that fairly tricky to do. I tried to start like that, but in the end you've just got to start getting spaces built and planning and placing things, otherwise you don't know how much money you can. It's a money thing, a money balancing thing to start with, for sure. So you can plan out all you like, but you'll run out of money before you can even place your runway and upgrade your the runway services, and then place your taxiway. So the best thing to do is just do a small area and then start expanding it as you go on. So that's my lovely airport, and I've really enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to start another game, I think, at some point. Oh, something I forgot to show you. You have to have a garbage area where the janitors bring all the rubbish bags from around the airport, hence all the rubbish bins. And I found that putting this amount of dumpsters is more than enough, and then you get a big lorry come and take all that away. And this is where your deliveries go for any new builds that you do, and the workmen have to carry it all the way across. So when I start working on this gate over on this side, they're going to have quite a journey to get over there. But yeah, I'm quite pleased I've just found that now. Light rail. I was wondering about this, so let's have a look at the transit report now. Transit capacity. Oh. Okay. Oh well, anyway. I think it will make a huge difference. You can see the number of people travelling to and from, and that's great because the drop-offs and pickups, because I've kept them fairly small, because you can do huge, great big long runs, but if you do a single lane you do get traffic jams, whereas these smaller runs allow a couple of buses to come in, as you can see, drop people off, and then there's still capacity for another bus or some cars, and they're not causing a jam further down. But I think this is a great idea, and I think there's some stuff in the works from the developers about expanding this functionality. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this game. But I don't know how people would feel about watching a playthrough, or whether it would just be enough for me to just do this sort of thing, show you what I've managed to build after the effect, and just explain how I went about it. I think that might be kind of interesting for people to watch, and you're seeing the results of all that work, rather than having to sit through building a foundation and moving boxes around and waiting for people to go to this place and that place. So this is where any of the items that you remove because you didn't need them get stored, and then you can eventually sell them off or reuse them, and they'll use them out of stock if you keep things in there. Has to be within the secured area, and you can make that much larger if you've got a lot of stuff just sitting about. I love the little baggage carousel. All the little labels on the cases. What I can't understand is why there isn't one bag that's been ripped open and they've wrapped it in plastic, because that always happens. Always. Look at all these. But look at the money we're making. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Pricing, you can adjust pricing. I mean, I could bump this right up, and I could charge the terminal usage. I could per passenger charge, I could bump that up and keep making money, but at the moment it's really not an issue. What have we got in operations? Buses every 30 minutes. Oh, okay. Retail. Garbage. Oh, light rail could be more frequent than hourly. Every 30 minutes? Let's make that. Every 30 minutes. Because they are cool. So, there you can see one of the examples of the log jam. Now, this flight is boarding, and as the queue capacity increases, they add on, you know, they add on to the end of the queue. But the way, the width of this, if I didn't have the queues like this, I'd have to have them coming down vertically, and that would mean this whole building would need to be a lot wider, deeper, so I could move all the restrooms back. But it's a pretty decent balance so far. Anyway, so that was just a quick look, just 30 minutes, just to show you what I've been playing right now. It's a bargain on Steam in the sale right now if you want to give it a go. It's so much fun. There's a lot of gameplay for the money. I'm quite impressed, and I think there's a lot to come in the future. Reading the forums, what the devs have been saying, and they seem really enthusiastic, and they seem to be working really nicely with the with people playing the game, and they're very sort of active on the forums, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so I think this could be quite an interesting game. So that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed that one, something a bit different from the usual fare. Until next time, take it easy, and I'll see you again soon.